I think the queen in that little white hot box there is already mated. I brought that box inside the house last night so I could open it up to make sure that the queen wasn't in the syrup reservoir. Let's take a look inside of one of those so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. Okay, that's a Mann Lake mini mating nuke. I think they might be $25. It comes pretty much as is, except for it won't have any honeycomb in it. What you do to start out is you've got to imagine this without any honeycomb. Now you can see there's a little piece right there. That little piece was cut out from one of these. That's a foundation. It's made out of beeswax. I use plastic ones, but I also have these for making honeycomb that you eat. I think I have 1 or 2 boxes out in the yard set up to do honeycomb this year. Eventually I'll find them and see if it's any good. But back to these, you'll get 3 frames and they'll be pretty much undrawn, and what you'll do is you fill this with syrup. Then I cover it like this. I might put something heavy here, maybe something like that. Then what you do is you'll take suppose I just found a virgin queen in a hive and I have it in a cage, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, I'll go get in a beehive and go through the hive and look through the nest and find the queen of that hive, and then set it aside, and then shake bees into a tub, like a bedpan from a hospital. It's about the right size. You can shake bees into it and then have a little tub of bees. You need 2 cups of nurse bees, okay? If you leave your bedpan of bees, or just use a cardboard box, if you leave it set for a minute after you shake the bees in, the field bees will fly back to the hive, and then there'll be bees left in the box that just crawl around in the box and they don't know where to go. Those are nurse bees, and that's what you need. How you know they're nurse bees is because they won't fly back to the hive. The reason why they don't fly back to the hive is because they've never been outside before and they don't know where the hive is. When you see bees orienting, that's what they're doing. It's their day of discovery of, wow, there's an outside world. So they have to fly around and figure out where the beehive is on their first flight. And then they'll go back in and rest, get some food, and then maybe go look for nectar or pollen, and they're kind of programmed to do that. Well, you got your 2 cups of nurse bees. You dumped them in, then you set these frames back in. If you're doing it, they won't have honeycombs on it yet, but that's okay. The bees will build them. 2 cups of bees will do that, yeah. Then what I typically will do, once I got the bees in and everything, is I'll get my queen and I'll either spray her down real good with sugar syrup or maybe get her wet with honey. And then put her down on here and she'll walk in, because she can't really fly because she's all wet. And that way the bees don't really recognize her as a queen. Usually an unmated queen bee is just another bee. It doesn't have any smell yet. So they just treat it like it's just another bee. So maybe you don't need to coat it with the syrup or honey. And I've done it that way too. Just put the bee in there. Well, a virgin unmated queen can fly really well and just fly off on you. That's one of the reasons why I get them wet, or try to remember to. But either way, I'll introduce the queen to here and then put the lid on and walk away. Come back in 2 weeks and take a look, and probably that queen will be laying eggs in here, and then, you know, then you can do whatever you do from then on. See, you got a mated queen. Some people raise queen cells, and they'll use these, and they'll put a queen cell in here, point it down or whatever, and then let it emerge into the mating nuke. That's what it's meant for. That's what these are meant for. Let's look a little closer at some of the features. You see, when you got you might do this on assembly line. If you watch the University of Guelph, they actually do this video of doing these with an assembly line of people assembling a bunch of them, like 100 of them. So they're taking all the queen cells and just everything. It's very interesting. But what they'll do is close it up. They close the door, and then they drive this whole thing to somewhere else with bees in it. This little bottom slides forward. There. And makes it where there's a vent on the bottom. And this is a vent on the top. So they're well vented and well insulated. It's a very well thought out product. I've used them. I've got about 15 of these. They work, not every time, but you know, usually. Well, you get to the other yard where you're doing your mating. I tend to do everything in one yard. I don't have multiple bee yards spaced out. If I had another one that was 3 or 4 miles away, I would, you know, load these up, get them ready, and then take it to the other bee yard, and then open it up, and then let them do their thing, and then come back there in a couple weeks and check. It's that easy. And I've got one going right out here, just because I found a queen in the swarm, and I'm pretty sure it's already mated because of the way it couldn't hardly fly. I think this queen will start laying eggs in there as soon as the bees make honeycombs. This one didn't have honeycombs in it when I put bees in. It just had the little racks. They'll build them. They'll get her going. They've got syrup and everything. That's why I took it inside the house last night, was so I could put syrup in and make sure the queen wasn't trapped inside of the reservoir. I just don't remember when I put it in. It was all kind of, it happened so fast, you know. I don't remember. I thought she was in the side she's supposed to be, but I wasn't sure. Well, I checked and made sure she was in the right side, and I put syrup in, put it back together, and then set it out here. And everything is okay. I think this will be a beginning of another new beehive. We'll see though. Have a great day. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.